Hello everybody. Now it is time to talk about sustainable development. One of the concepts we need to examine before converging the following topic is sustainable development. It is defined as an approach to developing or growing by using resources in a way that allows for them to renew or continue to exist for others. For example, using secondary recycled materials in construction projects is a good example and good practice aiming sustainable development. Okay, before going into details of sustainable development concept, I'd like to introduce you a short history of the concept, how it is developed. Let's start with the history of the concept, sustainable development concept. Researchers focus on various activities to classify the history of the concept of sustainable development, and it is divided into three parts. The first period extends from 60s to early 70s, and it covers the period from development of economic theories until to the first United Nations Conference on the Human Environment, which was held in Stockholm in 1972. After the Stockholm Conference, the terms such as development and environment, development without destruction, and development in accordance with the environment were increasingly used in publications, while the term eco-development was used as a first time. In 1983, the United Nations World Commission on Environment and Development, WCED, was established to develop a global change program. In 1987, the Brundtland Report, or Our Common Future, was published. It is a turning point of the concept sustainable development history since it was introduced in its true sense. Researchers addresses that the Brundtland Report is a milestone in the beginning of a new global socio-economic policy in the concept to make it a key element in environmental management and other areas of human activities. The last period of the concept extends today, and it includes several significant events. For example, the Earth Summit of the Rio Conference was held in Rio de Janeiro in 1992 is another milestone, which is ended up with the following documents: Rio Declaration on Environment and Development, Agenda 21, non-legally binding authoritative statement of principles for a global consensus on the management, conservation and sustainable development of all types of forests, Climate Change Convention, and Convention of Biological Diversity. At this stage, it is critical to address the simple question: what is the difference between sustainable development and sustainability? While I am teaching in the university, some of my students are addressing these questions clearly, and they look like they are a little bit puzzled, the difference between sustainability and sustainable development. So sustainability is often thought of as a long-term goal. For example, you can aim for a more sustainable world, while sustainable development refers to many processes and pathways to achieve it. For example, sustainable agriculture and forestry can be one of the aims or pathways. Sustainable production and consumption could be another aim and pathway. Good government, research and technology transfer, and education and training are the other examples that may help you to obtain a better sustainable development. So let's have a look at that and ask this question: is it all just about the environment? Because it is another question, or it's another discussion topic I am always encountering with while I'm making discussions with my students in the classroom. And they're asking that it is all just about environment. No, the answer is simply no. Living within our environment limits is one of the central principles of sustainable development. Yes. However, we have some other domains which should support this idea. For example, climate change is a good implication to realize the limits. But the focus of the sustainable development is far broader than just the environment. It is also about ensuring a strong, healthy, and just society. This means meeting the diverse needs of the people in existing and future communities, promoting personal well-being, social cohesion and inclusion, and creating equal opportunities. And this course is about sustainable buildings. So another key question at this stage is, how does it affect built environment? The development concept affects everyone, including the building environment, based on the ways we approach. So built environment is not apart from sustainable development. The impacts of our decisions as a society in general, construction engineers in specific, have very real consequences for other lives. Poor planning of residential buildings, for instance, can reduce the quality of life for who live in them. Another example is that some countries may rely on imports for construction materials rather than producing them locally, which may put the nations at risk of resource shortages and limits the local job opportunities. Sustainable development provides a concept for making better decisions on the issues that affect all of our lives. Another example is incorporating of sustainable urban development plans into the planning of increasing populations. For instance, we can ensure that residents have easy access to social and leisure facilities by designing more green and recreational urban spaces. And at this stage, I'd like to give you some key examples which are typical sustainable applications or sustainable activities. Okay, so for example, use of materials in continuous cycles, use of continuously reliable source of energy are good examples of sustainable activities. You should encourage desirable human traits like equity, creativity, communication, coordination, appreciation, intellectual and spiritual development. Also, the activities require continual inputs of non-renewable resources. This is also a very important case for built environment and construction processes. Use renewable resources faster than their rate of renewal, and this topic is quite challenging for construction sector, and especially use of renewable resources is a kind of challenge because the construction sector is mostly dependent on non-renewable resources and virgin materials. It can also cause cumulative degradation of the environment, require resources in quantities that could never be available for people everywhere, and the activities may lead to the extinction of other life forms, so they should be limited, they should be carefully monitored and avoided in the sustainable development applications. Okay, you may remember in the earlier part we were talking about scale and scalability. In sustainable development and making an assessment or application in the sustainable development, you should also focus on the scale and scalability. So here I'd like to address you three different scales in terms of their actions and strategies. And the first one is reactive applications. It means end-of-pipe applications. So you can make a kind of analysis of the current or existing systems, and you can take some actions reactively to give a better response for sustainability. The second stage and higher level of application is anticipatory application. It means that you should make a plan for change while you are designing. It's a kind of design change challenge even in construction projects and construction sector too. And the last level of the application scale is radical solutions. So in this case, you should find fundamental root causes for the problems, and you should apply radical solutions for the identified root causes. It is a higher state of or higher level of application to assess the quality of any actions which provide sustainability. Okay, let's see some examples how we can make some actions or put some actions in three different levels in 3 different areas. And I selected here for you buildings, biodiversity and transportation areas, and I provided some key actions and activities. They are sustainable, they are leading us to sustainable solutions. And let's have a look at that. For example, for buildings, a reactive solution could be installation for building to improve their heating performance if the building is old and requires a kind of to increase energy efficiency. However, an anticipatory action is to changing construction methods and material using principles. So this is a higher level of action, and the last level of action is a radical change. It means that you can apply circular principles to reach carbon zero. It is totally different perspective. Even change the principles of designs and the principles of construction requirements too. So there are similar application mechanisms for different type of problems we have nowadays. For example, by keeping the biodiversity as a reactive response, you can create a kind of zoo or seed bank for endangered species if you have, or in a higher level state of application, you can establish national parks to protect habitats, and in the highest level of application, it is a radical change. You can apply landscape ecology principles to human activity, so it is going to provide a better protection for the biodiversity. In case of transportation, for example, if there is a kind of pollution problem coming from the traffic, you can apply catalytic converters to do your transportation fleets, and you can make a kind of retrofitting. It is going to solve it. It is going to provide you a solution, end pipe solution. However, the alternative solution is that it is a high state of sustainable solution, which is use of alternative fuels for cars. It may also include electric vehicles. And the last but the best solution is the complete redesign of our cities. Maybe you should design some cities out of traffic. So this is a radical change, but it is going to eliminate most of the problems and provide more sustainability in terms of the scale of the problem or scale of the solution, or both. And here, in this case, in this slide, I like to give you one particular example, which is getting popular in construction sector. It is the assessment of prefabrication in construction industry. So please start thinking about prefabrication in construction industry and how it could be more sustainable if we compare it with the conventional way of construction. And here I identify some key elements for you from different scales. And in the first scale, definitely prefabrication is providing a better construction and demolition waste management system for us. It's an end pipe solution, but it works well. So it seems that the prefabricated fabrication prefab options are good or better or more sustainable if you compare them at this scale. In a higher scale, it also provides a significant change in the production process of the construction material or construction elements. It is clean technology or cleaner technology than conventional production, and also it eliminates a loss of material wastes. So we can also say that this application is sustainable even at the anticipatory level. And at the radical level, this is the highest possible benefit you can get. It changes the concept in demand. It means less consumption, and alternative consumption activities can be also incorporated with prefabrication. It is also possible to use a kind of new methodologies like Lego style prefabricated elements that can be used in many buildings after their end life. So this is a kind of radical change in construction business. So after providing this example, I will also encourage you to think about how prefabrication could be a more sustainable solution in construction business.